satisfying stories of petty revenge from people that have simply had enough. 1. Posted by Redditor, _acceptable. I had a neighbor that had a dog that barked from about 7 p.m. till 5 a.m., non-stop. They worked nights, I believe. They kept the dog outside. I knocked numerous times, and they said, "Dogs bark. What do you expect?" Their house was directly behind mine, and we shared a divided wall. I recorded their dog for a full day, the minute they brought him in, and I felt like they were sleeping. I popped my phone into the dock and played it on my stereo full blast, facing their yard at 9 a.m. They came over raving mad to my wall by about 12, asking me to shut my dog up. I said, "It's your dog." I recorded him. "Since you miss out on what dogs do, I'm just playing the radio at normal, allowable city time, and I will do this every day." They started bringing the dog in at night after that. 2. Posted by Redditor Dyer_Raven. I was waiting in line at the bank. They have you line up outside, not a problem. This particular day it was a bit windy. Again, not a problem for me. A guy gets out of his car, check in hand. The wind whips the check from his hands, and somehow I managed to step on it as it scooted by me. I wasn't really expecting a thank you, to be honest. But what I definitely was unexpecting was the guy to chew me out for dirtying up his check. He goes, "Thanks for stepping on my check. The bank probably won't accept it now. Call me an A****Cole." But I lifted my foot up and let it blow away in the wind down the street and said, "Well, they definitely won't accept it now." The guy freaked as he was chasing it down the street, and I got called up as next in line. Sorry, not sorry. 3. Posted by Redditor Jinak. I got a job as a EMT after a 6-month community college training course. I was woefully unqualified. I barely knew the basics, but the teacher kept saying, "Don't worry, the new job will train you when you're hired." I got hired at an ambulance transport place that just took people to dialysis and things like that, not emergency services, but there was no training. I was told to figure it out myself, etc. I didn't know what I was doing, and I quickly realized this wasn't a fit, but I continued to try. On day 4, I was let go. I had worked for days total. I signed a paper with reasons they were firing me, all of which I agreed with, so I signed. I asked if they had my check ready. The man who was doing the paperwork said they didn't, but they'd send it to me. Not exactly legal, but okay. I waited and waited. No check. I called to see where it was. I knew they were supposed to get that to me pretty quick by law. I called a few times to see where it was. The boss lady was so rude, not taking calls. When I did get someone, they'd say, "We'll mail it." I started researching labor laws because it was getting ridiculous. When I found out they have to give me a day SPE for every day my check is late, which was $150. So, I stopped calling and started waiting. I finally got a check, but it was a payroll check, and it turns out I had worked 2 days in one pay period and 2 on the next one. So, I called again to tell them and got yelled at by the boss lady. Waited another 2 weeks, got my last check, and filed my claim with the labor board for not getting my final paycheck in the time allowed by law. It had been about a month by then. First meeting was a mediation where we tried to settle. Boss lady wasn't having it. She kept saying she didn't owe me anything, and her offer was $500. She said this was all a setup by me. I knew they owed me closer to $3,000, and she didn't have a leg to stand on, so I refused. She stomped out and said I'd be hearing from her lawyer. Next, we went before a labor judge. This time, evil boss had done her research. Every excuse an employer can use for not paying me the last check, she used. She said I moved. She said I never tried to call them, that they tried to call me numerous times. She said they tried to call me to get my address, but my number was changed. She said her husband was a cop, and she was an honest person, and I was a liar and did all this intentionally. She said I purposely didn't clock in, and the times were messed up. She also claimed a ton of reasons why I was fired, none of which were listed on the paper they made me sign, and the judge called her out on that. I went home, printed my phone records, and highlighted all the calls. The letter from my landlord saying I hadn't moved, etc., and took it back to the labor board and dropped it off. I didn't get to see the judge again, so I don't know if the judge ever saw it, but I did win the case. Plus the judge added 4 days because the last check was sent on a Friday, before a 3-day weekend. I was only supposed to be paid until the postmark date, but I got paid till the following Tuesday. Over $3K. 4. Posted by Redditor deleted. My roommate enjoys nice long showers in the morning using all of the hot water. I realized that he literally jumps out of bed and runs into the bathroom when he hears my alarm. I started putting my alarm on silent for a while, and this was working well enough, but I still missed my morning shower several times because of their unreasonable long showers. So, I just started setting 2 alarms with one alarm going off about an hour and a half before I normally get up. This has caused him for about 2 weeks now to get up really early, run all the hot water, and be out with enough time for there to be warm water again. Small victories are nice. 5. Posted by Redditor Trina, 608, I own a big house. I am talking old Victorian type that I restored. An older couple moved in across the street this summer and started complaining about everything I did. They didn't like the siding I was having put on. My front door color was ugly. They hated all the different colored flowers I planted. I tried to ignore them until Christmas. I put up lights and a few blow-ups, but nothing the other neighbors don't do. This couple started complaining right off. Christmas offended them. I just smiled and added more. At this moment, my house can be seen on Mars. To add to the petty, I told the neighbor next to me, and he told another, and then another. And the next thing you know, our block become the brightest block for Christmas. For more story like this, share, follow, and subscribe for more of this daily dose of wild Reddit story.